The Galactic Academy lecture hall buzzed with anticipation, an electric energy crackling through the air as students from across the stars gathered for an unprecedented topic. Rumors had circulated for weeks that today's lecture would finally unveil the truth about one of the galaxy's most perplexing mysteries: why humans, a species capable of astonishing achievements, were universally banned from participating in galactic warfare. The seats were filled with feathered avianids, amphibious quarans, and crystalline zevrakins, all craning their necks or shimmering prisms to get a better view of the speaker who was about to take the stage. Professor Alex, an esteemed Sylvan historian whose glowing tendrils pulsed gently with her thoughts, floated to the center of the vast amphitheater. Behind her, the holographic projection of Earth rotated slowly, its vibrant blues and greens casting an ethereal light over the room. The murmur of curiosity died down as she raised her hands and began to speak, her voice melodic but commanding. "Many of you have heard the tales," she began. "Stories whispered in the dark corners of the galaxy about the human species. A people so dangerous, so resilient, and so unpredictable that even the most powerful of councils agreed to a universal ban. Humans are not to partake in interstellar warfare under any circumstances." A ripple of astonishment ran through the crowd. Some students had dismissed the stories as hyperbole, a myth to scare would-be conquerors. Others had seen the scattered reports of skirmishes gone horribly wrong for those who dared challenge humanity. The professor continued, her glowing tendrils twitching as she accessed the holographic database. "Let us go back to the beginning. It is essential to understand the nature of humans, their homeworld, and why they remain the galaxy's most feared and underestimated species." The hologram shifted, now displaying the evolutionary path of humans, a planet brimming with danger, from volcanic eruptions to devastating storms. "Earth, classified as a death world," Alex said. "To survive there requires not just intelligence but an unmatched level of adaptability. Humans are the only known species to have thrived in environments ranging from frozen wastelands to scorching deserts." Alex paused, letting the enormity of that sink in. "But their ingenuity is not limited to survival. Humans are creatures of passion, capable of empathy and unity, but equally capable of vengeance and destruction. This dichotomy is what makes them so unpredictable." At this, one student, a young Koran with glistening scales, raised a trembling hand. "Professor," he asked hesitantly, "if humans are so dangerous, why not eliminate them altogether? Why merely ban them?" Alex smiled knowingly, her tendrils glowing brighter. "That question has been asked by many over the centuries. And it was answered, with devastating clarity." The hologram shifted again, now showing a timeline of human conflicts, from tribal wars to global battles. The screen zoomed in on the first known human interaction with an alien species. The year was 2147, when the first emissary of the Galactic Council arrived on Earth, a towering being known as Malithar of the Arclon Empire. The emissary came with promises of peace but concealed intentions of domination. Humans, naive to the broader workings of the galaxy, accepted the emissary's presence with open arms. Malithar, Alex explained, underestimated them. He believed their primitive technology and fractured nations made them easy prey. But humans have an unparalleled ability to unite against a common enemy. The hologram now depicted grainy footage of humans rallying together, setting aside their differences, and pooling their resources to face the Arclon invaders. Against all odds, the humans adapted their technology at a pace that astounded even the most advanced civilizations. Malithar's forces were not just defeated, they were obliterated, leaving no survivors to warn others. The students gasped. For most of them, this was the first time they'd heard the full extent of the story. It was not just their military strategy, Alex continued. It was their psychology. Humans fight not just for survival but for vengeance, for justice, for ideals. Their capacity for emotional connection drives them to lengths that other species simply cannot comprehend. A student from the crystalline Zevrakins, whose body shimmered like 1,000 suns, interjected. Surely their victories were circumstantial. Luck, perhaps? Alex shook her head. Luck may win a battle, but not a war. The Arclon Empire learned this the hard way. They sent reinforcements, believing the initial defeat was a fluke. What they encountered was an enemy that had not only adapted but had studied them, reverse-engineered their technology, and turned their own tactics against them. Humanity turned the tide so completely that the Arklon Empire was forced into retreat. The hologram zoomed out, showing the devastated Arklon fleet retreating under the relentless pursuit of human forces. What came next, Alex said, her voice growing somber, was a moment that changed the course of history. The screen showed the aftermath of the conflict. Earth's skies were clear, its surface unscathed. Yet humanity's retaliation had left several alien colonies in ruins. The humans, Alex said, did not just push back. They ensured that no one would dare attack them again. And in doing so, they sent a message to the galaxy: provoke us, and we will not stop until we have erased you. A silence fell over the hall, the weight of Alex's words pressing down on the students. Even the boldest among them now wore expressions of unease. To understand humanity, Alex concluded, is to understand that they are not merely fighters. They are creators, innovators, and survivors. But when cornered, when wronged, they become something else entirely. Something no species has yet managed to predict, let alone overcome. As the lecture ended, the students left in thoughtful silence, their minds racing. Humanity was more than a mystery, it was a warning. And for the first time, they truly understood why no species had dared to test the limits of human patience since. The Galactic Academy's amphitheater, usually buzzing with lively post-lecture chatter, was eerily quiet. The students, a kaleidoscope of species and perspectives, gathered in smaller, subdued groups. Professor Alex's revelations about humanity's harrowing rise to galactic prominence had shaken them. Now, curiosity mingled with a gnawing fear as they prepared for the next session. When Alex returned to the center of the room, the hologram behind her shifted, displaying a solar system dominated by Earth. The holographic sun flared softly, casting shadows across the audience. Alex began without preamble, her glowing tendrils moving with a hypnotic rhythm as she spoke. Many of you are likely asking the same question, she started. If humans are so dangerous, why have we not seen any major galactic conflicts involving them since the Arklon debacle? Surely, if their capacity for destruction is so vast, their aggressive tendencies would have flared again. The room was still. Even the restless avianids, whose feathers usually twitched with every stray thought, were motionless. The answer lies not in humanity's strength but in their restraint, a restraint born of their history, their culture, and their deeply ingrained understanding of loss. The hologram now displayed images of Earth's history, particularly its most devastating conflicts. Explosions from atomic blasts illuminated the screen, followed by plumes of smoke rising over war-torn cities. Images of solemn faces, survivors standing amid rubble, appeared next. Humanity is unique in that they have repeatedly brought themselves to the brink of annihilation, Alex explained. Unlike many of your species, who unified early in their evolution, humans evolved through cycles of division and reconciliation. They learned, through blood and ash, the true cost of war. A hand raised from the audience, its owner a glistening avianid with silver-tipped wings. Professor, if they've suffered so greatly, wouldn't that make them more cautious? Why, then, did the Arklons provoke such an extreme response? Alex smiled faintly, as if she'd been waiting for this question. It is because humans are both cautious and passionate. They value peace, but they will fight without hesitation when their ideals, their homes, or their loved ones are threatened. Let me show you an example. The hologram displayed the year 2213. A sprawling alien armada, the Threnic Coalition, hovered in the void above Earth's atmosphere. The Coalition had mistakenly believed humanity's isolation meant weakness, much like the Arklons had before them. They came with demands for resources and servitude, believing Earth to be an easy conquest. This was humanity's second major encounter with an alien force, Alex narrated. Unlike the Arklons, who had underestimated humanity's technical ingenuity, the Threnic Coalition believed their overwhelming numbers would suffice. They sought to force humanity into submission through sheer scale. The hologram zoomed in on Earth's surface, where human cities lit up like stars. The Coalition's ultimatum played in translated audio, a booming voice demanding immediate surrender. The hologram then showed humanity's response: silence. For 48 Earth hours, the humans said nothing. Alex continued. No pleas, no negotiations. The Threnic commanders took this as a sign of fear. What they didn't realize was that humanity was preparing. The students leaned forward, captivated. When the humans finally acted, it was not with brute force but with precision, Alex said. The hologram shifted to show a series of orbital weapons platforms, their sleek designs concealed until the last moment. They deployed weapons systems no one outside Earth had ever seen. Targeting systems disrupted the Coalition's fleet coordination, while localized EMP pulses neutralized key vessels without causing unnecessary casualties. Alex gestured, and the hologram zoomed out to show the aftermath. The Coalition's massive fleet, once an overwhelming threat, was now in disarray. But it wasn't the technology that broke the Coalition, she said. It was what followed. The hologram displayed a human envoy, a woman in a simple uniform, her expression calm but unyielding. She stood before a Coalition leader, who towered over her with shimmering carapace and multi-limbed grace. The woman's words echoed through the amphitheater. Leave now, and you will live. Stay, and you will learn what happens when patience ends. The Coalition fled. The amphitheater was silent, but the tension was palpable. Even the crystalline Zevrikans, who prided themselves on logic and analysis, looked visibly unnerved. It was the first and last time the Threnic Coalition challenged humanity, Alex said softly. What frightened them most was not the weapons or the strategy but the calm resolve of the humans. They fought only because they had to, but when they did, it was with a determination that bordered on the inexorable. Alex paused, allowing the weight of her words to settle. Then she added, but that's not the end of the story. Humanity's actions following the conflict are what truly define them. The hologram displayed images of Coalition ships, damaged and adrift, being aided by human rescue crews. Supplies were delivered, wounded were treated, and surviving Coalition soldiers were allowed to return home. Despite the conflict, humanity extended a hand of mercy, Alex explained. They made it clear that they fought only in defense, never out of malice. And in doing so, they earned something far more valuable than fear: they earned respect. A young student from the aquatic Quarren spoke up, his voice resonating like the hum of ocean waves. Professor, do you mean to say humans desire peace, even after such aggression? Precisely, Alex said. Humanity has always been paradoxical, capable of great destruction but equally capable of immense compassion. Their wars are not born of conquest but of necessity. And it is this duality that makes them so difficult to predict, and so dangerous when provoked. The amphitheater fell silent once more, the students grappling with the complexity of what they'd learned. Humanity, they realized, was neither hero nor villain. They were something far more nuanced, and far more formidable. Alex's glowing tendrils dimmed slightly, signaling the end of the session. Tomorrow, she said, her voice carrying an edge of anticipation, we will examine the event that cemented humanity's place as both a cautionary tale and a beacon of resilience. As the students filed out, their thoughts swirled with new understanding, and a lingering unease about what awaited them in the next chapter of the lecture. The next session began with a sense of unease hanging over the amphitheater. The students, still reeling from the revelations about humanity's unpredictable nature, were silent as Professor Alex once again took the stage. The holographic display behind her flickered to life, showing a vast, star-studded void dotted with ancient, shattered ships. The scene was haunting, a graveyard of vessels floating in eternal stillness. This, Alex began, her voice carrying a somber weight, is the site of what we call the Obsidian Accord. It is here that humanity made its most chilling statement to the galaxy. The students leaned forward, drawn in by the professor's tone. Even the stoic Shinari warriors, known for their indifference to historical lectures, seemed unable to look away. It was not long after the Threnic Coalition's defeat, Alex continued. Humanity had earned a reputation as a species to approach with caution. But not all heeded that warning. The hologram shifted, zooming in on a different fleet, sleek, black ships with angular designs, radiating menace. These were the Drixari, a nomadic species infamous for their conquests and disregard for life. Where the Threnic coalition had sought resources, the Drixari sought something far more insidious: dominance. They called themselves the rightful rulers of the galaxy, Alex explained. And humanity was just another stepping stone in their path of conquest. The hologram displayed the Drixari fleet advancing through human colonies, their brutal efficiency leaving devastation in their wake. Entire planets were left barren, their inhabitants either enslaved or eradicated. The Galactic Council, paralyzed by bureaucratic inefficiency and internal divisions, issued condemnations but took no action. The human colonies were on their own. The Drixari assumed humanity would fall as easily as any other species, Alex said, her glowing tendrils shifting to an ominous hue. They had not yet understood what made humanity different. The display shifted again, now showing a small but formidable human fleet gathering near the Obsidian Rift, a region of space notorious for its treacherous gravitational anomalies. The human ships were dwarfed by the sheer size of the Drixari armada. When the Drixari arrived, they found humanity waiting for them, Alex said. But not in submission. The humans had chosen their battleground carefully. The Obsidian Rift was a place where strategy and ingenuity would outweigh sheer numbers. The students watched as the hologram depicted the opening salvos of the battle. Human ships darted through the chaotic gravitational currents of the rift with precision, using the anomalies to mask their movements. The Drixari, despite their overwhelming numbers, struggled to adapt to the unpredictable environment. Humanity's tactics were unlike anything the Drixari had faced, Alex continued. Every move was calculated, every action deliberate. They lured the Drixari deeper into the rift, where their larger ships became liabilities. The hologram zoomed in on a human ship, a sleek, agile craft outfitted with advanced weaponry. It fired a concentrated energy beam into a nearby anomaly, causing it to erupt in a gravitational shockwave that tore through the Drixari fleet. The audience gasped as the destruction unfolded. But the most significant moment of the battle was not the destruction, Alex said. It was what came after. The hologram shifted to show a single human ship breaking through the chaos, broadcasting a message to the Drixari flagship. The image of a human captain appeared, a woman with piercing eyes and an unyielding expression. Your arrogance ends here, the captain declared, her voice calm but resolute. You will leave this place, or you will not leave at all. The Drixari, accustomed to fear and submission, hesitated. It was a brief pause, but it was enough. The humans pressed their advantage, using their knowledge of the rift to force the Drixari into a retreat. Those who refused to flee were destroyed with precision strikes, their ships left adrift in the void. The Drixari learned a harsh lesson that day, Alex said. They realized that humanity would not be subjugated. More importantly, they saw that humanity's strength lay not just in their technology or tactics but in their resolve. They fought not for conquest but for survival, and they would do so with a ferocity that could not be matched. The hologram zoomed out, showing the aftermath of the battle. The Obsidian Rift was littered with the remnants of the Drixari fleet, a stark reminder of the cost of underestimating humanity. But what followed was even more significant, Alex said, her voice softening. Humanity did not pursue the fleeing Drixari. They did not seek vengeance. Instead, they broadcast a message to the galaxy. The hologram displayed the message, spoken by the same human captain. We desire peace, but we will not surrender to tyranny. Let this be a lesson, not just to the Drixari but to all who value freedom. We will defend it at any cost. The students sat in stunned silence as the hologram faded. The weight of the story settled over them, a mix of awe and unease. Humanity, they realized, was a force unlike any other, a species that could endure unimaginable hardship and still emerge stronger. Alex's tendrils dimmed, signaling the end of the lecture. Tomorrow, she said, we will discuss the aftermath of the Obsidian Accord and the impact it had on humanity's role in the galaxy. For now, reflect on what you've learned. As the students filed out, their minds raced with questions and thoughts. Humanity was no longer just a mysterious, distant species. They were a paradox, capable of both great destruction and profound mercy. And for the first time, the students began to understand why the Galactic Council had banned humanity from participating in galactic wars. They were not a threat to be contained, they were a lesson to be learned. The days following the lecture on the Obsidian Accord were marked by an electric tension among the students. Conversations in the halls buzzed with speculation about humanity's true nature, their strategies, and their impact on galactic history. For some, it was a cautionary tale. For others, it was an awakening to the depth of what the Galactic Council had sought to suppress. Professor Alix entered the amphitheater for the final session of the series, her presence commanding silence. Behind her, the hologram sprang to life, displaying a rotating image of Earth, a vibrant, living sphere that seemed to pulse with energy and potential. Today, we conclude with humanity's most profound message to the galaxy, Alix began. The event that solidified their ban from galactic warfare, and yet, ironically, brought the galaxy to a deeper understanding of peace. The hologram shifted to a scene of a grand galactic summit, where representatives of countless species had gathered in a massive, luminescent hall. At the center stood the human delegation, a small group of unassuming individuals clad in minimalist uniforms. They looked out of place amidst the grandeur, yet their presence dominated the room. The Galactic Council convened this summit, Alix explained, to address the growing unease surrounding humanity. They sought to impose stricter sanctions, to neutralize what they perceived as a threat. But humanity had prepared a different response. The hologram zoomed in on the leader of the human delegation, an older man with graying hair and a calm demeanor. His voice, steady and measured, echoed through the hall. "We understand your fear," he said. "We understand why you would wish to confine us, to control us. But let us show you what we truly fight for." The scene shifted, and the hologram displayed a series of images that left the students breathless. They saw humans working tirelessly to rebuild devastated colonies, extending aid to alien refugees who had suffered under the Threnic Coalition and Drixery campaigns. They saw scientists and engineers developing technology not for conquest, but for healing worlds scarred by conflict. They didn't just present their case with words, Alix said. They showed actions, proof of their commitment to more than just survival. Humanity, despite its capacity for war, sought peace with equal fervor. The images faded, replaced by a singular, haunting scene, a child, human and alien, standing together amidst a ruined city, their hands clasped in solidarity. It was a moment that transcended language, a symbol of unity in the face of devastation. But the summit did not end there. Alix continued. The Galactic Council was unmoved. They demanded assurances, guarantees that humanity would never rise as a military power. They wanted submission. The students watched as the hologram showed the human leader's expression hardening. He stepped forward, his voice carrying a new edge. "Submission," he said, "is not in our nature. But neither is oppression. We will abide by your sanctions, not out of fear, but out of respect for what we believe in, a galaxy where strength is not measured by weapons, but by the courage to build instead of destroy." The tension in the room was palpable as the scene shifted once more, showing humanity's final act at the summit. The delegation revealed a technological marvel, a device capable of neutralizing weapon systems on a galactic scale. It was not a weapon of war, but one of disarmament. This, Alix explained, was humanity's ultimate statement. They developed a means to end war itself, but they chose not to wield it. Instead, they shared it with the galaxy. The hologram displayed the device in action, rendering entire fleets inert during a simulated demonstration. The room erupted in gasps, some of awe, others of fear. The Council was forced to reconsider their stance, Alix said. Humanity had proven they were not a threat to the galaxy, they were its mirror. They reflected the best and worst of what all species could become. And in that reflection, the galaxy found its own path forward. The students sat in stunned silence as the final image lingered, a galaxy where peace, though fragile, had been given a chance to take root. Humanity, despite being banned from war, had become its most powerful advocate. Professor Alix dimmed the hologram and turned to face the class. Humanity's patience may have snapped, but in that moment, they chose creation over destruction. They showed us that strength lies not in dominance, but in the resolve to protect what matters most. And that is why no species will ever forget them. As the students filed out of the amphitheater, their perspectives forever changed. They carried with them a deeper understanding of humanity. They were no longer just a species confined by sanctions, they were a lesson in resilience, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is a choice to be made.